tap that screen and like the video. Why? Because you're helping me out with engagement. Be a nice person and do that. All right, let's go.
Of Israeli spying in the U.S. I'm going to give credit to NBC News. They broke this story first. Let's put C1 up here on the screen. The Pentagon has raised the threat of Israeli spying on U.S. to the highest level. Let me explain some of what they have, and then I will give you some of what I have. They say the Pentagon is increasingly concerned about Israel ramping up its spying on the U.S., recently raising the counterintelligence threat level from America's top ally in the Middle East to the highest level. The Pentagon.
And here's the thing, though. What it looks like is that Israel's not liking where this war is going for them. And they're pretty much spying on our top military officials to see where their head's at, to see what they might be saying, and possibly to see if they can blackmail them and get them to go in, Israel's direction, pretty much tap Trump on the shoulder, shake him on, be like, you must attack Iran. You must put boots on the ground. This is an existential threat, Trump. Oh, my goodness. Hey, man, hey, there's a lot you can get out of a person with the right type of blackmail. And shout out to my man Noah Joyner. Appreciate the support, my man, with the 10. He says the political powers in Israel have become way too corrupt to be left to their own devices. Honest fix, remove our money from them and hold them for war crimes. Also, did you watch Falcon 9 Lodge? I did not. I did not catch that one. But, hey, appreciate the support, my man. Of course, I'm going to go ahead and give you that shout out. I ain't gonna lie, man. I can't get enough of that sometimes. And to the guy on Twitch, yes, I'm live. This is live. This is not a fake live. This is a real one. So, yes, bro, I can see you. But all right, though, let's get right back to it, guys.
DIA. So this specifically is like the internal intelligence agency for the Pentagon, the Defense Intelligence Agency. In recent weeks has issued a new counterintelligence threat assessment amid rising tensions between Israel and the U.S. over the way forward in the war with Iran. They said the DIA posted an internal message viewed by a current official that raised the level for Israel to, quote, critical. The designation stems from concerns within the Pentagon that Israel is making fun of making a particular effort to surveil top U.S. officials. I'm going to give you some of the names of those officials a little bit later on. The DIA assessment includes a 7-page document.
Remember, DIA is Defense Intelligence Agency, and it pretty much is just the CIA wing of the Pentagon. So, yes, they run military intelligence.
And features a chart. The document says the assessment of Israel is its ability to conduct human espionage and technical collection is at a critical level. It also identifies a series of specific incidents that heightened U.S. concerns. So the spokesperson for the Israeli embassy said this, quote, completely false, that Israel spies on the U.S., Israel does not gather intelligence on American entities, let alone U.S. government officials.
LOL.
Israeli intelligence collection efforts are aimed at its enemies, not its allies. Any claims to the contrary are either misinformed or politically motivated.
We should ask Mr. Pollard about that one.
Yeah, I'm sorry. There's just been so much proof of Israel spying on us. It's just like, really, bro? I'm sorry. But before this, we knew you guys were spying on us. So, to deny it now that it's a complete story and we've raised your threat level, a.k.a. y'all been a threat, but now y'all just try hards at this point. Kind of let you know, we weren't bullshitting you guys, and it's not Israel derangement syndrome to sit there and say, yeah, they've been spying at us. Actually, we've had Israelis right out betray us. Jonathan Pollard, y'all forget about that guy, stole our secrets, sold it to Russia, and y'all forget. Did you forget when Israel stole the nuke from us in Pennsylvania and New Mexico? Yeah, y'all forget about that part? Through spying, through intelligence, by the way.
Yes, the Pentagon has declined to comment, and a White House official said in the statement...
guys, we got over 100 of y'all watching, man. Make sure to double tap that screen and like the video, guys, on YouTube, X, Rumble, and, of course, Kick as well. I don't think you can like the video on Kick. Shoot, just stay watching, bro. Appreciate you.
The story is entirely false and sourced to someone who doesn't have any knowledge. The ODNI, the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, was overseas, did not respond to a request for comment. So let's focus in on a few things. Number one is the statement from the White House that says that this is completely false. Can we put C2 up there on the screen? The entire story is false and sourced to someone who doesn't have any knowledge of what's going on. I want to point everybody to a very interesting line. The Office of the Director of National Intelligence did not respond to a request for comment. And I also want to point to some very, very specific examples, including a 7-page document that features a chart. That document, I can confirm to all of you, exists. Now, let me tell you about some of the things that are in there. I got to be a little careful here in terms of protecting some of the many people who I spoke to about this story. Basically, what they have seen in terms of their raising too critical is they have raised it to a similar level that they treat general U.S. adversaries. This is based on a few specific incidents. Some of these incidents, again, I cannot go into deep detail, include the explicit surveillance of top officials inside of the Pentagon who they deem to be a threat to their agenda inside of the Pentagon. The New York Times,
AKA anybody trying to push Trump out of this war, man, look, man, we need to get the wiretap on that phone immediately. We need to figure out if he's cheating on his wife and anything else that he might be doing. Because yeah, we need more people on our side to push Trump into this war. I think that's really the reason why they're upping their spying on us, because they see that Trump is being dissuaded, he's being pulled in the opposite direction, and they're like, oh hell no, oh hell no. Let's just see what we can get on these guys. Let's see if we can blackmail them. Let's see if we can find some incriminating information or some information that makes it seem like they're going against Trump to make Trump distrust them. Anything to pull Trump in our direction. But let's see, because I'm kind of glad we caught them. I'm kind of glad this came out, but that's not going to stop the Israelis. Let's be real.
the way, can confirm some of this as well. Let's put C3 up here on the screen so it's not just me who is telling you all of this. I'm going to read from you a very specific line. The report includes that Israel has stepped up its efforts to eavesdrop on senior American officials, including Steve Witkoff, President Trump's top negotiator, Elbert J. Colby, the Pentagon's top official, and one of his main deputies, Michael Dimino. Now, Colby, Dimino, and Witkoff, I guess, could technically be seen as some sort of the restraint part of the Pentagon. Colby, in particular, we've had him here on the show. You can go back and watch some of those past interviews. Witkoff, obviously, look, I don't really know what Witkoff believes, but Israel seems to believe he's a problem because he was one of the people who initially started that who initially pressed them for the ceasefire. They've never forgiven him for it, and even for his involvement, despite him still being very, very pro-Israel. I also want to point to a very specific line that they use, which I can also tell you, eavesdrop. What do you think that means? It means trying to bug people's phones. Here are some of the other things that I have learned is that the Israeli government has been increasingly, while U.S. military officials are in Israel, that they have found themselves basically subject to the same, quote, threat analysis that they would whenever they're traveling abroad. Now, it is standard operating procedure for U.S.
No, I'm not going to lie, man. One thing that does piss me off about these negotiations is the fact that Jared Kushner, the guy with all the self-interest in the world, is wild as hell, but the guy with all the self-interest in the world is actually in on these negotiations. Then we got Steve Witkoff, the straight out Zionists, like completely biased parties. I mean, that's what kills me about these negotiations. You can kind of tell that they basically want them to fall apart, or they want them to be overly favored towards Israel. Because I'm gonna be real with you, they didn't send American negotiators, they sent Israeli negotiators.
Officials, when they leave the country, to actually turn in their government device and to get a traveling phone. And it's explicitly for this reason, because of potential being able to break into their various devices. And there was at least some belief that attempts at that had been made. And now the Times and the NBC News have gone further, and they're basically saying they explicitly tried to eavesdrop on these three officials that we know about, also military officials inside of Israel, CENTCOM and others. But the main target of...
Hey, and shout out Steph for sending the marshmallow for 100 joules. Appreciate the support, sis. You know, I'm gonna go ahead and give you a celebration as well. Razor blade. I ain't gonna lie, man. That boy Kim Jong-un got moves, though. You can't lie. He's smooth out there.
Israeli intelligence right now, from based on everything I've been able to see, is to get as much visibility into the Pentagon's internal decision-making as possible, including to the White House, to make sure that they can try and influence things from their side. Now, nothing I'm saying is explosive in such a way that, like, if you watch the show, you probably believe it. But I think what's explosive is the fact that the DIA concluded this in a memo. And again, I think the number one thing I can offer you is the memo exists, that they definitely have been, they have specific.
And the thing is, bro, the DIA, I'm be real with you, the Defense Intelligence Agency has been Donald Trump's worst friend. Well, actually, I'm gonna be real with you. Well, worst ally department, because these guys have been doing Donald Trump dirty. And this is how. every time when Donald Trump came out and said that, hey, we took out 90% of their missile launching capability, DEI comes out and says, oh, no, you didn't. And DEI is Defense Intelligence Agency. Like every time, oh, yeah, we took out all of Iran's Navy. DEI comes out, no, you didn't. They still got like 60%. What you talking about? So for some reason, it does look like the intelligence community might be pissed off at Trump. Like, shoot, I'll go ahead and read this for you. Because this isn't the only time the DEI done, you know, pretty much went at Israel and whatever Israel's been saying, or whatever the Trump administration has been saying as well. But classified U.S. intelligence assessments from the Defense Intelligence Agency concluded that Iran's military remains far stronger than the Trump administration has publicly acknowledged. According to intelligence sources, Iran's military is capable of posing a severe regional threat despite recent coalition strikes. I mean, key assessments from the DIA and broader intelligence communities indicate the following. Let's get into it. Missile capability. Intelligence shows that Iran still retains roughly 70% of its pre-war missile stockpile and about half of its mobile missile launchers. So like I said, when Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth was telling you, oh, we took out everything, here comes our intelligence agency with the, oh, no, you didn't. And this is our own intelligence here pretty much going against our president. What does that tell you? Kind of looks like there might be a bit of a problem going on. And let's see, he rebuilt infrastructure. Iran has restored operational access to a vast majority of its underground storage facilities and missile sites along the Strait of Hormuz. And of course, stockpile. The DNA has confirmed that Iran still retains thousands of missiles and one-way attack drones. And the nuclear timeline. DIA has previously assessed that Iran could produce enough weapons-grade fossil marine. Sorry, guys. Fissile material for a nuclear weapon in probably less than 1 week. So, do you see the problem here, guys? And you see how you guys have been completely lied to about what's going on the ground. And here's the thing. I mean, you could believe Trump or you could believe our intelligence, but I'm going to go with our intelligence since they got more resources than Trump. And sadly, Trump has been cutting off his intelligence, aka he's been cutting himself off at the legs when it comes to getting, you know, what's really going on the ground. I mean, when you listen to the Mossad instead of your own intelligence, what do you expect to happen? But hey, it is what it is. And now, guys, you can go ahead and get this in from the Washington. Well, let me go ahead and give you a guys good article. The New York Times did a really good one on this one. So I'll go to the New York Times if I were you, if you got the subscription. It was a really good article to read through. I mean, see, look, it even gave you, see, look, secret new assessment says Iran has access to about 33 operational missile launch sites. So you can go ahead and read that article. Hey, I can't do all the work for you, man. You got to get some reading done. Okay. Some of y'all ain't reading years and you know it's true. So go out there and read. All right, guys, don't forget to double tap the screen and like the video, guys. Appreciate the support, by the way.
Specific instances in some of these cases where they have tried to eavesdrop on these U.S. officials. AIPAC, the U.S. and others are AIPAC and the White House are all denying this. But I can tell you for 100%, this memo exists. It includes multiple specific instances of Israeli officials who were either caught or where the DIA believes that they were trying to surveil U.S. officials. I also should note that this memo does not just include evidence from after the outbreak of the Iran war. This critical threat memo was issued based on years now of counterintelligence activity that they have been able to conclude. And it was done specifically to try and protect the integrity of the U.S. war decision-making process. There are still people in the Pentagon who care about that. I can report for all of you. This is based on some of my conversations with multiple different sources who are around this. But the most noteworthy and depressing part to me is the...
Oh, guys, let's make sure to support the stream so we can get that call-in line open. If you want to double your support, you can send a Venmo, or you can go ahead and just super chat in or send a Rumble rant if you're watching on Rumble, guys. Appreciate the support. And if not, make sure to double tap that screen, like the video, guys. Let's get more people on the conversation by double tapping that screen. We got about 142 of you watching across all platforms.
White House saying that this story is completely false. The people in charge of actually making sure that we're not getting spied on are the ones who are denying that the story doesn't exist. It exists. I can tell you explicitly it exists. The memo is real. The actual things and various contacts that were made inside the memo, again, I wish I could go into even some more just because it's really crazy, but that would give away a little bit too much. It includes multiple instances where military officers and others found themselves or believed themselves to be under either electronic surveillance, human surveillance, or other type of surveillance, either in Israel and in some cases electronically here in the United States.
Well, they say in the New York Times report that some officials discovered that the Israelis had either attempted or succeeded in installing software on their phone. Could be Pegasus, something like that.
Want me to go in the details on that one?
Sure.
So this appears to have been an effort where, you know, sometimes whenever you go to a secure area, if you've ever been into a skiff, you often have to turn in your phone for a briefing. Well, they would come back and then they would discover, oh, actually, there might be something that's been installed on my phone. So there you go. Now, it's actually a little bit unclear as to where the software was installed. Either it could have been in Israel. There have been some speculation that it occurred in the U.S. Best I've been able to tell, it occurred while they were on travel, while they were in Israel. And they're actually particularly worried about their own personal devices. Remember that Steve Witkoff and others have used their personal devices and signal devices whenever they were conducting diplomacy, which just made them very vulnerable.
And also fly around on private jets, not, official secure government aircraft. And so that makes them more vulnerable. And what the New York Times points to is that, look, Israel has been spying on the U.S. and we spy on them too, by the way, but they aggressively spy on the U.S. and this has been always known, right? That's not new. But they say that,
considering how much we do for Israel and, all the conflicts they dragged us into and all the countries we took care of for them, you would think they show us enough respect to not spy on us, considering everything we've done. You feel me? Like, don't you think that's fair to ask? But apparently it's not. Apparently I might be anti-Semitic for even, asking that of our favorite allies or our favorite country, the Middle East. My bad. I guess I should never have asked it.
the efforts have been ramped up significantly, actually during the Biden administration after October 7th, as they were trying to get a window into, okay, what is the decision making that's going on inside? Are they going to try to constrain us in any way? The answer turned out to be no. But in any case, that's when they really escalated these efforts. And one person that the New York Times quoted here said that what they're doing now is, quote unquote, unhinged. So, again, these are not people who are Pollyanna who, would expect that Israel would not spy on us whatsoever, which to me seems like a reasonable expectation of an ally. But in any case, that is not the expectation that our government apparently has. But even given that baseline of expectation that they will spy on us, they consider the actions to have been taken here to be unhinged. I want to pair this too with another story, which is the efforts to effectively link the U.S. and the Israeli militaries and make them so intertwined that this is something we talked about last week with Brandon Weichert, to make them so intertwined as to make it almost impossible to extricate ourselves from this relationship. This is the country that we're talking about, a country that spies on us as aggressively, if not more aggressively, according to these reports.
So crazy. We're actually pushing to actually have to have the Israeli military pretty much fuse with ours, like funding, technology, and all. And it's like, wait, what? So we'll be absorbing the IDF and they'll be using our systems, our tech, all that. Yeah, I don't like that. I'm selfish about our stuff. I don't know. I feel like that should be for America only.
As our adversaries, as our biggest adversaries in the world. There is no other ally that is conducting this level of operations against us. It is not a thing. It is only Israel. And so it really does call into, look, to me, the relationship of Israel as an ally is already called into question. This further calls into question the idea that this country should be an ally, that we should have this type of relationship with them when they're committing, acts against us that are adversarial all the time. And I said earlier in the show, they would be delighted if U.S. service members got killed right now in the Middle East so that we would get drawn back in. That's our ally. That's who we send billions of dollars a year to without a second thought. That's who we're trying to directly intertwine our military and intelligence services with. This is insanity.
And I can tell you,
that's our pal. That's Israel. Like, as soon as Israel just goes out there and bombs another country, we just hit them with the, Israel. But okay, guys, let's go ahead and get into the next one real quick. Now, let's see here. Where do I want to take this one? Because I wanted to land on, do I want to land on the Piers Morgan or the PBD? Let's go to PBD. All right, let's do PBD.
Tehran.
All right, guys. Guys, make sure to double tap that screen, like the video, guys, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, guys. Especially if you've been watching over 10 minutes, you might as well subscribe to the channel and definitely click that bell.